So it was so funny, I was telling Jess that we're not preparing, I said, we don't have anything to present in August, we will. And I said, and not only that, I wanted to survey you guys anyway to get your input. She goes, yeah, just tell them to wear clothes.
These are ones we need, these policies. She named it, this is a
It's
policy.
bad, they're not, it's
Yes,
just,
and I printed that copy.
I'm like, okay.
It's astonishing.
Oh, I find it
When I'm driving
too.
along, especially Stratford High. I don't come there, but I'm sure it's all high
Okay,
schools, but.
right. It's, well, I like the Milford policy.
Oh, you do, good job.
Because they address a lot of that.
Hey, Bob.
Whoa, how you doing, Bill?
Phil.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it, it was more full
We have
substance.
a big update.
Yeah, I know,
We can't
because
throw
what
it
we,
together.
yeah, well, we can't, because what's currently,
No, we
yeah, what's currently there is just,
Oh, no, that's,
so we'll sit
Woefully.
down and, oh, I know,
Feel
right?
funny not sitting.
But I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel too much on that, because again, I saw some really good policy.
really good policy.
Yeah, but she says their input is just tell them to wear
You're late,
clothes.
you're late, you have to sit right there in the middle.
Isn't that the truth?
When she comes, put
I'm
it
gonna
in.
check for it.
How you doing, Bill?
It'll be easier for two instead of walking around with the cameras on.
Hey, Chris.
Where are you? Make sure you tell her you put the chair out first, make it nice and easy for her. Just slide it out.
No, it's, so this is.
I was just over at Pender's,
No.
a picture for Nate. He and a bunch of football players helped him. Mulch the spread up there. And they knocked off in 2 hours. People up there all day to do. And he did a nice group picture, but then he had used tennis courts, beautiful. Oh, really nice. But it's also using too.
Were you okay?
Yeah.
Lumber Park, right before New, so Scrabble High now has their own home courts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I went over to the one on Honey Spot.
I was just saying how you're always ready for this.
Because this building can either be
Yeah.
sweltering
Oh,
or
good Lord.
never just
Gorgeous.
I was like, no, she's
Where's
prepared.
your- Yeah, yeah,
I tried.
yeah.
Hi, Jack, how are you?
Stars doing a great job right there. Their marketing trying to.
Starting to go.
I guess they got some new young blood, like tech, and tech people.
Hey Lou, you ready for us? All good to go?
They're doing-
Might as well get started. It's exactly 4:30, so I'm gonna call to order the, oh, what is today? Can't remember.
24th. Isn't it?
24th,
Yes.
2024 meeting of the Policy Review Committee. We do have a quorum. And I'm gonna get a motion to accept the minutes of May 15th.
So I take motion.
Somebody second?
Motion, second.
Any discussion? Okay, fine. I think I had a question for Teresa on the minutes. A motion to accept was made by Mrs. D'Angelo Powers. Was she here at that meeting, or is it?
Probably not, Bill, that's probably my mistake.
So I thought,
Probably meant to put Mr. Gordon there.
were you at that?
I
Were you-
wasn't up last week.
I was at the last meeting.
I'll go back through and change that.
Okay, no big deal, I just wasn't
No,
sure.
it is-
I don't remember her
it's
being
other
here.
people.
See, I do read them.
You did, that was a test, Bill.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously, thank you. Okay, continued discussion. Group work, which one do we want to talk about first?
If no one's jumping in, we have copies of the attendance policy. It was pretty much reviewed with everyone in detail last meeting. There have been 0 changes to it. We did put the draft watermark across the front as requested.
So you, Jack, feel like this is ready to go forward?
I think our committee does.
Yeah, we do.
You know, we've been out a few times, reviewed it with the people here. At this point, you know, we feel unless there's an objection from somebody in this room on something on here. I think that Andrea and Greg had some great feedback from the middle schools, Carlos solicited feedback from elementary schools. We have a good representation of people's thoughts and ideas. It's all in line with state language. And it works to hold our students accountable, so I think it's a good thing.
Make a motion to send to the board with a favorable recommendation.
So moved.
Second? Any
Second.
any additional comments? Everybody's happy with it?
Well done.
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Good teamwork.
One down.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, Pastor Unanimously. You guys get an A+ on your report card.
That's my first one.
Can you print up copies of
One
this
done.
for the board at the board
Come
meeting?
on.
And I'll see if maybe we can waive the rules and just accept it as a first reading. And if not, then we'll, I think the intent is to have this in place for the start of the school year.
That'd be great.
So we'll either have to waive the rules and do it
And
in
add it to
August
the
or
agenda.
have a special meeting in July. And, you know, it'd be nice if we could just, as a first
I'll make
reading.
a copy.
Do you want to give her?
So on our list of
Food charges?
I could, yeah.
the list that everybody had suggested back, remember when I asked for ideas, that knocks off that one. And what's the other one that's on our agenda tonight? Residency, I think residencies, are we all set with that now?
Residencies.
I thought that was going to
The
the
board,
Board of Ed.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and passed.
And we've had I think we had our second reading at the board, our first reading, and it's time for a second reading today.
Right.
Give a second.
Be for second tonight.
So I know last meeting I said I would look at what people had requested back when we said, what are your priorities? And I know Susan, you had sent attendance, homework, school climate. Marina, you had sent student, I think attendance.
Yep.
Instruction, community relations. Carly, you had said non-resident students in residency, which we've addressed. Food service, which we've
Right, what I did was when Pam was here last, I sent her a follow-up email thanking her, you know, for her presentation. But I also kind of capture, you know, what our feedback would be towards this policy. And I'm just waiting to hear from Pam. Once she gives us the go-ahead, I just want her to kind of sign off on it. Whatever we have to do any tweaking, then we will put the policy together. I guess we have to reach out to Teresa Lykudas to help us with the editing of it, and then we'll present it to the policy committee. And then we are working on dress code. We don't have anything tonight, but in August, we're prepared, or we're going to be prepared to present a proposal on the dress code policy as
That was
well.
one of the things Jack had brought up in the beginning.
Mhm, yeah.
There's also two legislative changes that are going to require this committee to update and change some policies. So one legislative change is around student discipline. Students in pre-K to second grade can no longer be suspended out of school for 10 days. The max you can suspend them out of school now is 5 days. And any student pre-K through 12 for an in-school suspension cannot go above 5 days in-school suspension.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
Yep, there's brand new legislation that just passed. I literally just went to the legislative update last Friday. So sat down with the lawyers, and now for discipline, kids pre-K to second grade can only be out of school suspended for 5 days at a time. You cannot give them a 10-day suspension. So our policy needs to be updated because our policy says they can have 10 days. Okay? All in-school suspensions, no matter what the grade is, pre-K through 12, you are not allowed to issue an in-school suspension greater than 5 days. So again, our code of conduct and policy will need to be updated in one shot. Nothing changes with the federal laws for manifestations, for 10 days, for any of those things, but the Connecticut regulations will not allow us to do our 10-day in-school suspensions anymore for any kid, and will not allow the little kids to be suspended out of school for 10 days. Okay, so
So-
those are two legislative changes we have zero control over, but we'll need to update our policy.
So that seems pretty clear cut that we just add that to the policy and eliminate what is prohibited.
Yeah,
So it
right.
is.
You don't need a
it
committee
is-
for that, right? We
So
can
it
just
is
plug
and
that in.
it's not. So
Okay.
inside our policies for discipline, that is written at multiple different policies under multiple different sections, right?
Got it.
So it's not one policy, it's that we have to dig through
Oh,
all of our
okay.
discipline policies,
Okay.
all of that series, and it's gotta be removed from every one of those policies. And then the second big update is the Title IX update. That one I think should be pretty simple for all of you, because Bertram and Moses is gonna rewrite our grievance procedure and policy and issue the changes for that. So the Title IX has gone from multi-investigator model down to a single investigator model. And you have a shortened, you know how it used to, could take for Title IX up to 60 days? Well, that's no longer. It's gonna have a shortened amount of time for you to complete those investigations. And so we need a new detailed grievance procedure. I have already reached out to Bertram and Moses, who wrote our last procedure and policy for Title IX, to write us a new Title IX policy with a new grievance procedure. So they'll clean that up this summer and give it to you guys for your read and approval in August. We will have to push that one to the top of your agenda because it goes into effect August 1st.
Oh, August 1st?
Yes. So we will be a little bit out of compliance while you guys push it forward to the board, hopefully for their first board meeting in August. Okay, those are the two big rules that have changed that are gonna affect our policies.
Should we consider a special meeting just for that purpose and maybe a quick meeting, just
I'm assuming you're gonna meet in August before the board meeting.
August?
Yeah.
We're not scheduled to meet in July.
Right, so I think August is fine, because I need July to work with Bertram and Moses to get it all written. So then I'll give it to you in August, and then you guys can do what you need to do with it, knowing that the Title IX one was written by our attorney, so we probably shouldn't have much discussion, and that should just get forward to the board and get implemented. But the discipline one, that's gonna be more work, so the reason I'm telling you that is because you might wanna make a little subcommittee right now to start combing through, because we have like, student that, student this, student that, and in every one of those policies, it says 10-day
Wow.
in school, 10-day out of school, those all have to be addressed.
Well, for pre-K-12, pre-K to 2, the 10-day out of school has to be addressed.
Yes.
For everyone else, it's just,
The in-school suspensions.
so you can suspend out of school for 10 days, but in school for max 5. Or the 5 out.
No, so it's 5,
You go 5 out, 5 in?
no. No, they were very clear.
So it's 5 at one time, though?
5 at one time.
So let's say a few days go by and then,
That never happens.
I know.
We're a historic district.
yeah.
5, it's 5 for
Okay.
in-school suspension. So if they did something that warrants more than a 5-day in-school suspension, it then has to become an out-of-school suspension. So we are gonna have to update our code of conduct to match that.
So they really want it, and then they're gonna scrutinize suspension numbers.
Yes. Well, supposedly the reason behind it is, they want schools to stop having such high suspension numbers. So they're now preventing you from making it 10 days in school and hoping that all those things that we would have qualified as a 10-day in-school suspension will now only be a 5-day in-school suspension. So the student will have less suspension days. That's it, that's the good news I have for you guys. It's a great session.
So I don't have a
Very good.
problem, I know we're trying to just work on homework too, but maybe, I don't mind looking through the policy book and trying to,
What series is the discipline? 5,000?
it's usually in the,
What is it, 10,000?
Yeah,
5, yeah.
and you're just gonna have to dig through each of them, because I think it's.
Yeah, we'll comb through it, yeah.
Maybe we could get together. You're, the
I'm
harder
with
feel
you.
will meet, we can look at our work schedules and maybe, get together for a couple hours one day and just look through everything.
Can we get a digital copy? Because that really helped, if there is one, obviously, then we can,
Yeah, there's gonna be more than one, like, there's gonna be a bunch, so we have to identify them first.
and then go back.
And then we'll have to look at the code of conduct, but don't you have a committee?
I do. So
Together
the
for
code of
that.
conduct will take care of it, because I have a summer committee for that.
So we don't have to worry about the code of conduct. All we have to worry about is
All
the
policies.
policies.
Okay.
Oh, good. So you take care of that?
Sure.
Thanks.
Before, at the end, you and I will pick.
If anyone else wants to join us, we'll go.
You're
through
welcome.
this.
Yeah, why don't you toss it out to the group, and those of us who can, will help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think, we all have the book and we all have access online to all the policies.
Right.
So we could certainly just scroll through
Give me it
them.
up.
I mean, do you want to split out, you want to split
Sure.
the 5,000s?
Well,
I'll look at it, I don't even see.
Where
how-
does 5,000, Teresa, where does the 5,000 start and end? If you don't mind me asking.
So it starts with like
5111, great.
What does it say for
Suspect
sales?
511,
Am I going to say what happened?
Undocumented students, work
Yeah.
permits.
511.3.
Does it start at 5114, suspensions, expulsions, due
Yes,
process?
that's what you want.
Yep,
Okay, starts.
well, because right before that is the attendance,
Yeah.
so I think that's the correct one.
Will be the biggest one.
Yep,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, but it'll be in more. We'll go
Wow.
And
Oh,
then
it's long.
on 5141.21, which is the administration of medications, I'd sent everybody out the thing from the attorneys. And talking to Floyd, he had said, we can just take this, it's still pertinent to today, he did it a few years back, but we can just take this and take out the words Milford and replace it with
I
Stratford.
was gonna say, that's the other one they brought up, was that there now needs to be an update to the medication administration.
So if everybody's okay with this one, just
What are the updates, do we know? Is it quick 30-second overview?
Essentially, they said it was about, training for people who are administering medications, or CIAs, or, you know, if you're on a trip and you're the person assigned to this child who needs an EpiPen, there was new training requirements.
Okay.
So-
Does that mean we have to be trained as well, because in the absence of a nurse, the principal administers medications?
Yeah.
Or they do, okay.
it's 12 pages long. It's an upgrade, update of our current policy, but Floyd had gone through it and said that this is still pertinent, so if you guys are okay, we can actually, just make a motion to amend it, to remove the words Milford and put Stratford in place and send it to the board with favorable recommendation.
That's fine with me.
That's good, I concur.
So then I would make a motion to send, to amend the policy that was sent by Bertram and Moses regarding the Milford administrating medications, to remove the words Milford and replace with Stratford, and send to the board with a favorable recommendation. So I would make that motion.
Any more discussion? Did we had our own previously?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So it's probably pretty similar to this, just this is updated.
I didn't compare the two of them,
Yeah.
but I read through this briefly, and
Yeah.
as I said, it was approved by the attorney, so.
All right, so all in favors?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thanks, Mike. Boy, we're getting a lot done here.
So Bill, in an email you sent in April, homework policy was Jack's group, student attire, Carla, and Marina had community relations, and we still have on the table meal charges and dress code for attire. So those are the active ones, right?
Right.
I know there was a dress code that was submitted by the high schools for consideration, I think, probably almost a year and a half, 2 years ago now. I could dig through it. Heather, do you know who has that? Was it something we bought for?
That'd be great.
Anything you
The
can
one
give
in
us,
the
that'll
book
be
is
great.
2002,
Yeah.
so woefully outdated.
Yeah.
I will find out and see if I can get it to everyone this week, but.
Was it the cave, was it modeled from the cave?
No, there was information taken from the state, from various districts. I think it's reflective of 2024,
Yeah.
2023, whatever it's written, so. 22.
Andrea, since you were new joining us, if you see anything you want us to address down the road, let us know too.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, another thing, Carly, you had said physical assessment and immunization was one thing.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Jack, you had a whole bunch. You had transfer of credits. In fact, you said that student attire, there's a draft 18 months ago. I made a note.
Yeah.
Transportation, wellness.
That's good.
And some of them are really simple, like transfer of credits, it says we'll only accept transfer credits from an accredited US high school, which is a little bit outdated, we get so many people moving from different countries, so what our policy says is we shouldn't be given credit. Can't do that. There's one in there about, I think one policy references 20-minute lunchtime for teachers and a wellness policy, but the state mandates 30 minutes now, so that should just reflect a quick change in that too. I have this.
So I don't know if we have any more updates on what's currently been worked on, or we're just,
Yeah.
So we're,
We're working on communications, so we're close to.
I think we're halfway, more than halfway done.
Yeah, close to the end, but yeah.
I think we're halfway.
I would just suggest if anyone's gonna do the vaccinations or anything along those lines, that Kim Velasquez is included in your conversations and make sure you pull her in.
So that Kim Velasquez?
Yeah.
Okay, I had started the conversation with that with Floyd as well.
Yeah.
And so I will.
She's just our lead nurse,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And again, we're working on dress code, we have to meet, and we'll get something to the committee in August.
And I think maybe you wanna join dress code.
I thought.
Yes, yes,
We've
we
discussed
invited
it.
her. Oh, good.
Because middle school is such a great place for us to
Yes.
have those conversations.
Gotcha. At least we should August date to meet, that's all.
I'll send you what mirror we
so for now, I guess we can go on to tabled items. Admission/placement 5111, we just talked about that number, right? We have anything going on with that one for now? That, was not all about somebody moving to town and
Oh, that's the residency?
Admission.
admission
Like
slash
registration.
What's the number of it?
5111?
Oh, 50.
Next meeting date is August 21st.
Sorry, I'm late.
So that means we have to meet with August, you know. So we have to
We
get
can
a
back
date.
it up.
Yeah, maybe we can get a date before we leave here.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't officially return back until August 12th, but I'm willing to come back early for that, just so it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
You know what I
And
mean?
this one, you were on?
What are we talking about here?
The initials, please, if you want to let me. Thank you. You're welcome. Not just 5111, 5111.3.
This one that you guys had copies of, the beginning front one, that we had.
Oh, it's right here?
Yeah, it's one that we were, putting out there along with the AD entrance, and I think whether you wanted to do that for the program, and replacement.
Yeah.
I've heard-
Oh, yeah.
I've heard-
Those registrations are, right?
She's waiting for you.
I'll spin it in that.
I can't find it.
It's one that we don't currently have.
What are we looking at now?
It's in this packet.
Oh, okay.
The original packet.
Is that the original packet?
Oh, okay.
That's our original.
So we should just continue to hold off that?
Yeah, we'll just, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Something you guys can look at on.
Yeah, January 17th it was distributed.
That makes sense. Well, I guess we're to open discussion. Anybody want to talk about anything special?
Are we looking at grading as one of our policies we're looking at as well? or-
It's homework, right?
Homework and grading are two,
Yeah.
but I think you want to loop those two into the same. I'm guessing a lot of the grading falls under homework, so.
I thought we were working on, there's no homework? I thought there was a homework policy. Homework
There
policy.
is.
I mean, I thought we were revising that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's 6146.1, which is grading policy, and 6154, which is the homework policy.
No, it's in the bottom.
And Diana had said under instruction, grading / assessment system policy.
What's the number? 60?
6146, right?
6146.1 and 6154.
Of course, across the state, cell phone policy is a big talk this
Yeah.
recent weeks.
6146.1, almost really, almost all the way to the back. Yeah, like really in the back.
Let me say 6146.
Oh, that. Oh, there it is, 6146. Actually, it's after 6151, 6141-51. Grading assessment systems.
So there is a 6146, which comes after, looks like 6200.
Yeah, 6146 is graduation requirements.
Yeah, and that one's out of order.
Not that it's in this grading policy, I don't know, I mean, it's not here, but on the elementary level, we're finding that parents are not going on to the parent portal to look at their child's report card online. They're just not. They're just not looking at it. And we used to give out a hard copy of the report card, and I don't know if it's this group that would decide something like that, but we were kind of hoping, or at least to have discussion on making sure parents get a hard copy of the report card, because we're finding a lot
I
of them.
think you just need to bring that to your assistant superintendent's.
Okay, all right, I
That's
didn't
not
think
it.
so, right, it's not a part of the policy.
We talked about that though too, three of us did, because it, I mean, it is a problem in that.
It's a
yeah.
problem, they don't know,
Mhm.
they're not going on.
Yeah.
Right, we did talk about a little bit further even how to, bring them forward to the parent portal so that they would become more familiar with it
You
through
have
forms. and
explicit
things like that.
instructions.
Oh, I know.
So, we
Just
often
make it
get
more
parents come to
attractive.
parent-teacher conferences not knowing what their child's
Right,
report
right.
card looks like, so, okay. That's
And
it, that's
you
the
don't
Dr.
think it's
Diorio.
lack of tech access,
It
computer
could
access?
also be-
No.
I don't know.
It could also be multiple platforms being used right now between PowerSchool and
Yeah.
parents.
Google Classroom.
there.
I know.
I-
Yeah.
As a parent and a teacher, it's on both sides.
Yes.
Yeah. Heather, I know there was some talk at one point about the report cards being switched at elementary level over to,
Power School.
into Power School at, doing grades instead of numbers. Is that something that is moving forward, do you know?
That is something that Diana will work on
Okay,
now that we have somebody in Teach and Learn.
okay, perfect. I know we had reached out to, Matt Rivers just to see if that was something that, because we weren't sure where it was at when we were talking about it at our committee, and, looking to see, how much more easily would it make things more easily
There was
accessible to
an
them,
entire
or was there?
report card committee
Mhm.
that was
Oh, there
together.
was,
and
okay.
that-
Of course,
that
for
dissipated
years.
For years, that dissipated. But we're gonna bring back. So
Okay.
I think that group will do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good, right? And he said to me that it was, doable,
Mhm.
obviously.
It's
but-
doable,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of, again, the committee was working on the type of grading, what grading we were
Mhm.
giving, that, there was a full committee dedicated to that.
I will say 6146.1, the grading policy as it reads here, is pretty generic.
Mhm.
It doesn't really take into consideration, I think, some of the concerns that people may have. I know that for the high school purposes, this chart here, I don't wanna say should be revised, but maybe should have discussions of whether it should be revised, the weighting. You know, one of the things we've learned is unintended consequences with changing things, and I know that, there are reasons behind it, but if you look, you know, an A- in a college prep class carries the same weight as a B in a AP class. So as kids figure out, the ranking system, we might be pushing kids to stay away from AP and advanced placement classes or dual enrollment classes because they're much more challenging, and a B in that class, if they get an A in an honors class, it's worth more. You know, it could be worth more than a B in an AP class. When it comes to class ranking,
Yeah,
the ranking of students, and, you know, we all know our balance out, get free tuition to UConn, so there is some importance to it. But I think there were some questions about the 90-10 grading, it's a procedures that the high school use, it's not a policy. That's why it's not listed in policy anymore. But we can talk about that with Phil. When Katie, we'll meet next on the 8th, if that's okay.
There's a lot for everyone to talk about, and there are significant more school districts and high schools that are now no longer doing rank, period.
yeah,
Really?
yeah. They're stopping that.
So I think it's a deeper conversation.
Yes.
Like
Many-
big districts. they're
Many,
big
many districts have just moved to the first two, valedictorian and salutatorian, those are the only two.
And then it goes by
Your
percentile, top 10%.
I mean, I can put it out there, Hamden has moved away from ranking, they only have valedictorian and salutatorian. And then only the top 10, because there's a top 10 recognition, but you could be 11 and you won't know your rank. So,
Stanford as well, no more
so these
rank.
are large districts, similar DERGs.
Yeah, just, food for thought as you're thinking about it. It does seem to be a push of people moving away from it for those purposes, Jack, because it's deterring people from challenging themselves simply for a rank reason versus not.
That's a big change.
Well, it was changed in 2021, that chart. So, not that it should change every 3 or 4 years, but I think it's something to have a conversation about.
Was it changed, or did they just keep it and change some other parts of it?
No, that was the main change.
Okay. Well, part of the grading too, and I know we've talked about it a bit, is references administrative policies, and is, you know, the way I think the statute is written is the board creates a wider umbrella of policies that allows the administration to function within that wider umbrella and create administrative policies. And
Jack and Carla, you both have been here for a really long time. Do you have a binder on your back shelves that say administrative policies?
I have to
It's
look,
red.
I clean stuff out, it gets cobwebs on it, so. I have to look.
It's not on the shelf, it's in a closet.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
I don't have shelves, that's why.
It's right in the middle of your desk.
I know, right, It's right
You know
there,
what?
right, I know, I said it.
When I was
Send it
going
to
through
me.
my
I
own
know that you
ADHD, I found one on a bookshelf, I had to blow the dust off of it.
I have
Was it
one
red?
that's-
you were the
That
one,
Wilcox
you were the one who told the
I
story
know.
about, I remember somebody told the story about.
Yeah, it was
all
probably
this
me, because I was looking for something and I was like, it was done.
Yeah, so I mean, it might be worth, our current policies do reference that administrative policy that I can't seem to find.
Okay, I will look.
But even to your point, the 90-10 and some of those grading policies are not necessarily in here, but I would think they're administrative. And if somebody was to come and say, how do you grade, it would just be, I guess, somebody's recollection, not necessarily something.
No, we have documents.
Yeah.
They're in our student handbook, they're sent home to the parents, everyone knows about them. That's a couple years old as well.
And they're consistent for both of the high schools and then the middle schools and elementary as well.
We're very consistent now at the high school level, which is good.
Keep thinking it's almost 6 o'clock, 'cause that clock is wrong.
No, it is.
So So I have to mention, because you said about top 2 in the class, my granddaughter in Trumbull was number 2 in her class.
Oh, nice.
So when I heard that, and her father's a Stratford High graduate, by the way.
All right.
But when I heard that, I said,
Very
she has to be adopted, can't be part of our family.
Oh,
And she's going to the University of Notre Dame, which is great.
oh, nice.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
So these these mandatory policies we have to have. This FAFSA completion program. I know we have a challenge in the high schools the last couple of years. But if I understand things correctly, next year, the completion of FAFSA is gonna be a graduation requirement?
Don't know that for sure. Probably.
And I know they're talking next year, they might push it back, but that's what I understood. So-
I didn't hear a definite stamp for next year yet.
Why, a number of kids are not filling out the FAFSA application? Is that what that is?
For a variety of reasons, I mean,
Wow,
you know,
okay.
I think we're at probably like, don't quote me,
Uh-huh.
I could probably text and find out, but like 63% completion rate this year.
Wow, okay.
Can I ask a question?
Some kids don't fill it out because they may have athletic scholarship to cover. it.
Okay, all right, okay.
Some may fill it out because they have other scholarships.
Okay.
And some may not fill it out because they're going to the military.
Oh,
But so if it's a graduation requirement, everyone's gonna have to fill it out.
Right,
And if you haven't done it, it's a really, I'm not allowed to look at it.
okay.
Kelly does it.
Yeah.
It's a really complicated, long process.
Mhm.
Not
It
so
is.
much anymore,
It's-
this whole turnover, so I just
Oh,
went
they
through this with my
changed.
daughter
I've
because she's
gone
headed to college.
3 times.
It's, I think they said they're down to like 32
But
questions
this is
or
the thing,
something.
Oh,
the
okay.
other thing is that there's incentives now that the state, if you complete your FAFSA, they will reimburse you part of your tuition, like not at like $500 or at that, you get money back. I don't know if kids understand that there are incentives that are being provided by colleges, that you you complete the FAFSA, you get back,
It's like getting a scholarship.
It is.
yes.
We never got anything back from FAFSA.
No, no, you won't get
Thanks.
money, like, I'm not,
I know what you mean, I don't.
but you get money back from the school for completing the FAFSA.
A state school, or any school.
Any school, because my daughter's, that wasn't a state, the other 2 were state. One state, 2 not state, so yes, and you get money back.
Well, and even your past tax pieces will feed right in. As long as you click that button, it'll just all download, so you don't even have to go hunt
But you
for
guys
it.
are very good about
anymore.
having assemblies, like people come to your
Yeah.
school to help families fill out.
Yeah, we have someone come every other week,
Yeah,
Yeah.
after school hours to
I
sit with
know.
families and help them.
I know you guys have done a lot.
That's impressive.
Nice. Thank you. Thank our school counselors.
Yeah.
I'm saying thank you, but it's our school counselors who come here.
Oh, but that is helpful.
No, it's,
Very.
I know that they do that they come and they help, and fill out the FAFSA. Yeah, that's a service.
It's a big form.
Did we want to add policy 6153, which is the field trip policy, into our mix here, since we had the girls from Bunnell who came and spoke to us and advocated for it? Do you want us to talk about that?
We should.
Editing the policy a little bit? Now that we know from, I know Floyd had, in some of those trips, our insurance covers it.
Yeah, he had, I think, rewritten the application. or-
Yeah, I think so, yeah, I think it's their permission slip, I think it was, yeah. So, I mean, just, we might want to add that into our mix, since we have addressed it on the board level already, for one as an exception.
Can we ask what was the issue or the,
The Benel seniors want to go on a field trip to Lake County.
Yeah, the field trip, the policy says no amusement parks.
it actually says that?
Yeah, the very last line on the first page.
And so basically, you can go to, where'd you go?
Holiday Hill?
Holiday Hill, right? But you can't go to an amusement park. But we have plenty of other trips in which they go to amusement parks. So if the band goes to Florida, they go to an amusement park, right? So it's not aligning with what we're doing. So they came in, they made a pitch to the board heard them, voted yes to let them go. And so we may want to look at possibly removing that line from that policy. The other thing is they go, Holiday Hill Middle School.
Yeah.
So if they want something different.
Like maybe editing it for 12th grade, not necessarily the other
Exactly,
grades.
right, yeah.
So I think it might be a level of independence a little too,
Absolutely,
a
yeah,
little too high for the younger kids.
yes.
But they just did a great job presenting to us, and
But if they do Holiday Hill in the middle school and you amend the policy, then as seniors, they can totally come. You know, and maybe you wanna edit
Was
it
it
to
only
say,
compounds, or was it-
only,
They were
only.
looking at Lake Compounds or Six Flags, but Lake Compounds was closer, they would get more time. And that's what they
Right,
wound up doing.
and you may wanna think about, Six Flags is leaving the state.
Right.
So you might wanna say in-state amusement park,
Mm-hmm.
or like, you may wanna word it so that
Young activists.
they would.
They
I
did
mean,
a
you
great
can tie
job.
that, you can tie
They
that
did
into the
research
curriculum.
and made a
Really?
great presentation.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really great.
I think there's something on the agenda tonight about field trip.
Cheerleaders. yeah.
Cheerleaders. Yeah. And of course, there's the great one planned for Hawaii in December by the music department, is it? Or-
Yeah, a great one.
They're in high school.
Should be awesome.
Fabulous trips.
They invited to perform at the memorial, at the Pearl Harbor Day Parade.
Oh,
Yeah, and Honolulu.
nice.
That's
Oh, wow.
wonderful. That's an honor.
That's nice.
And who doesn't like Hawaii? It's great.
They need chaperones, that's for sure.
This expensive per person.
It is, yeah.
It's a rough trip too, it's 7 hour, 5 hour time difference.
Yeah, it's like, looking at it like that.
Depends which way you're going.
And if you get straight through.
Yeah. Real time.
But there, so with the grading and the homework too, there's also 5.123A, which is promotion, acceleration, and retention. And then it seems like a lot of these are all over the place, the numbers and the policy, I don't know if we
I
wanna
will say,
consolidate them to some.
we have intended the last few years to really look at the retention policy. It's not working well.
Okay, so add
But it, I mean, that kind of seems to go if grading has an impact on homework, and if grading has an impact on promotion, accelerating retention, they should kind of, I would think, be in.
In the same group, and also if someone's going to be doing a retention one, please make sure you include Dr. Diorio and Dr. Piazza, because they're the ones that are gonna have to implement it, because it reads it goes through that office, so just make sure that you include them in your thoughts and discussions.
But, yeah, I think whoever's doing homework and grading, maybe on it. But it, and it also says in there that, and we've talked a lot about these administrative policies and just different words. But it says, the board shall approve the grading and reporting systems as developed by the administration and faculty upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. And I don't know if that's a typical, if it's just been in place so long. I haven't seen it, not that I've been here that long, but, you know, I don't know. That kind of, I don't know, if that goes out of the board's lane, so to speak, or? Anyway, but that would be an administrative policy, so finding that might be helpful in finding all that.
And I did add that to my summer to-do list to look at administrative policies and procedures.
That's why she wanted the red book.
So I want-
Yeah.
I want that dusty red book.
Should we review, like, who's doing what again? Because we were throwing out a lot of different things, so just so we're all on the same page. We're still doing communication. Jack is gonna throw out, but we're gonna work on the discipline to amend those changes.
And I'll send you both the new legislation, so you have the wording.
And
exactly.
anybody who wants to join on in is more than welcome. We'll let everybody know when, we'll pick a time that works, and then whoever wants to join, we'll do it, we're doing virtual, because that seems to, instead of trying to go to different buildings.
Yeah, and I am gonna send you that legislation, because in addition to reducing the days, there's, changes in notification and how you have to notify parents, so.
And then you threw out the trip one, field trip, and then there's.
Add that to us, or?
Sure.
All righty, all right, so we have dress code, field trip, we're wrapping up the food charging policy.
Yeah.
Food
And
charging
we're-
policy, just so the last.
Right, yeah.
We've found out over the last two board meetings that the state is.
You sure not to do anything about it?
I know that.
We can't do anything about it.
We
but
can't do
do
too
have
much
a-
of anything, it was just a
there
couple of
something-
tweaks.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
it. We just had a couple of tweaks, and I just wanted Pam to kind of okay it, and that's it, or not.
So this year, the state
Yeah,
is
right,
taking
right.
that.
And then the discipline policy to kind of comb through. So we have a lot.
Busy, summer reading.
On the beach.
And Title IX
Well, my
and
queen.
medication
I'll take care of
administration.
Title IX and medication you already have, because we already got a copy.
Okay.
Dress code is fun.
So, and then I'll
Field trip,
Well, okay,
your
yeah.
idea.
I'll
Yeah.
talk to the attorney too to finalize the vaccination thing, I think he said ours was in line, and I just saw the one half page, again, I saw the one half page which talked about vaccinations, and I thought I saw somewhere in there a page that was a section that was a little more involved about vaccinations, and there were comments about religious exemptions, which the state has waived, and I can't find it right now, but then I'm also looking a little further back,
Declined.
and there's a whole section on sunscreens and administered opiate overdose prevention emergency, naloxone. But those are further back, there's a whole bunch of stuff in the middle, so I wanna make sure that I don't see anything in this, which we're gonna be sending, that addresses that, so I just wanna maybe check with Floyd too. Again, they should be all in order, and so, and I thought I'd seen this, and then I thought maybe it was crazy, but I kept poking around. Now I found the whole thing about sunscreen, which is not connected, sunscreen and the opioids, which is not connected to the administering medications policy, so. Anyway.
And then the last one, you guys are doing the homework and are you guys combining the retention, or is that gonna be something different?
We didn't sign
We
on for
didn't-
that.
yeah, we
sign
didn't-
on.
Well, it's a different policy, I think.
Okay, so then we're gonna put the retention is gonna, like the grading, no, the homework and grading then?
No, we were doing the field trip policy, not the
Yep.
homework.
I think I don't know if we're spreading ourselves all too thin, it might be better to
That's what I'm thinking.
pick one, finish it, and jump on the next
Right,
one.
yes.
Instead of trying to have.
Because now I'm feeling like,
So I thought somebody was
policies
doing
open.
homework,
Yeah.
that's why I'm
I
asking.
thought somebody was doing.
I thought somebody was already doing homework.
oh no,
I think you hold off on the homework, let Diana and Phil get settled in,
Awesome.
and then
yeah.
Okay, that
I'll
works.
have them come and join, and you guys can make a committee then with them.
Perfect, sounds good.
Makes sense.
So we all know what we got.
Great.
All right, so everybody enjoy July. How does Wednesday, August 15th look? That would be our normal, right, Teresa, the third Wednesday of the month?
Yes.
There are retreats.
The 20th and the 22nd is the administrative retreat, the new teacher orientation is the 16th,
It is the
16th,
15th.
17th.
That's,
19th.
yeah, I thought it was the 21st.
August, the third Wednesday is the 21st?
Yeah, it was August the 21st was our
Is it
BOE
August
meeting,
15th?
yeah, I was just looking at it.
August 14th is
I have
that
policy-
Wednesday.
I have policy
No.
listed for the 21st.
Me too, yeah, that was when, these
21st.
were
Oh,
the
right,
original
yeah.
dates. yeah.
21st.
It was the
21st is the
21st.
third.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the third.
Yep,
which you'll be out in time, you
Yep,
have your
it's on my
administrative.
calendar.
It's on my calendar,
22nd, so you're not.
August.
lovely. Got something to look forward
I
to.
know. You love spending days.
Are you
with them.
gonna be using the,
I got such a headache right now, and I don't, oh, so it means we gotta be.
It was fun.
All right.
And are we gonna need to get any of these mandatory things? Will that,
I'm gonna give everything you guys need to you on your August meeting.
and that'll give us enough time frame to get it?
Yeah.
Because our regular meeting will be what, the 26th, the board meeting?
Yeah.
So we get it approved.
And like I said, it's gonna come directly from the attorneys, I'll get it to you in plenty of time for you to read it before your meeting here, but it's gonna be straightforward and it's legislation, so you don't really, Title IX is what it is.
Can we waive the rules on the, I asked Floyd that question, I don't remember his answer, but it says 2 readings. I don't know if we can waive the rules, or, and I've read where it's bylaws, statute, I don't know.
I think you can, we did the last time for Title IX, because this also happened in 2021, where the federal government changed legislation, new legislation came in, they did waive it, they did put it forward, so I don't see why you can't, this is,
Right, we have,
this is a law. So it's,
we have done it.
We have,
To
okay,
forego
I
the
don't-
second read, just
yeah.
to say, waive that
okay,
and present it for adoption.
yeah, just so we have it.
Yeah. yeah. And well, let's hope that I don't have any Title IX cases to investigate in the first week of school.
Yeah, I have to use that thing, yeah.
If you want, I can throw out some dates tomorrow.
So that'll work,
for
the
us to
20
have
August
virtual,
21st
however you
at
guys
4
wanna
p.m.?
do it, we can be in person, so.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Why don't
I'll
you-
throw some dates out.
It's more important for you to, you're off.
All right, I can throw some dates out when we can meet as a subcommittee.
Yeah.
I'll do it tomorrow, 'cause I'm gonna go.
I'm the
Wanna make-
investigator.
Yep, yep,
Making a
I'll throw
motion to
dates out
adjourn?
tomorrow, okay?
Everybody's good?
For that
I'll
one.
second it.
Second it? All in favor?
Whatever I'm saying.
Thank you.
Oh, we're done.
Motion adjourned at 5:17 p.m.
I'm still okay with that one.
Just in time to go to my next